Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this presentation of CBL basketball on the Coliseum Sports Network. Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to the Sprint Center in Kansas City for today's matchup between the Mexico City Guerreros and the Kansas City Monks. Both teams looking a little different, both on the roster and in terms of what they're wearing on the floor. We'll get to both of those things as the game progresses, but it's a crucial game for both teams as we head into the second half of this season. Mexico City trying to return to 500, while Kansas City is trying to keep pace as they have a share of first place in the Eastern Conference, but lost a tiebreaker out to Lehigh Valley. So both of these teams trying to stay in that playoff picture, and with only 10 games in a season, every game is crucial. Hassan Whiteside, Gustavo Ayon faced off on the tip, and Kansas City winning out. We're underway from the Sprint Center. Here's Tyreke Evans. Works it over to Hassan Whiteside, who joined over the week. Loses the ball. Rebound by Scola. Here's Rubio up the floor. Marcus Smart for three, and he can't get it. Rebound by Garnett. Pushes it ahead to Evans, trying to work his way inside. Gets it over to Johnson. Up top, Evans. Three-pointer by Johnson. And that will miss. Rebound Whiteside. He'll put it back up. That's no good either. Cold start on both ends for both teams. Almost a minute in here. Smart will try again from outside, and he'll knock that one down from the short corner. So 1 minute elapses, and we do have a team on the board. Here's Kansas City up the floor wearing their third jersey, their alternate uniform. They've worn white and maroon, or white with maroon trim here at the Sprint Center in the games they've played. On the road, they wear maroon with orange trim, and now they're wearing orange and maroon trim. It would be a Virginia Tech alum's dream. As they're on the board, Kevin Garnett getting the layup. 10.5 left in the first quarter. Mexico City, on the other hand, as Jeremy Lamb loses the ball, we'll get to them in a minute. But here's Kansas City up the floor, looking to take the lead. Euro step layup is good by Tyreke Evans. And the foul. That'll be Marcus Smart's first. Just a great bit of court vision for Garnett. Gets it ahead to Evans, who's never afraid to attack the basket. And he's able to go in and get the score. And he'll be able to tack on one more here at the line. The Chester, Pennsylvania native, the Memphis Tiger alum, able to knock it down 5-3 in favor of Kansas City. Here's Mexico City wearing all gold with a little white trim. They have made a special request to use this as their third jersey, trying some things out. The owner has publicly stated he's probably moving away from that black uniform that they were wearing on the road the first half of the season, but this is technically their third jersey, their alternate uniform. 6-5 here, Mexico City with the lead. Ellis, open lane inside, able to score. Kansas City taking the lead back. Here's Scola. He's going to try to step through Garnett. Couldn't do it. Here's Smart putting up another three. And he's 2 of 4. Here's Ellis going inside again. He'll draw the foul this time. And that'll be Marcus Smart's second. So a number of changes made over the past week as we've passed the halfway mark of the 2015 CBL season. First shot made. 3 players ended up leaving the team over the past week for Kansas City. That was Sharon Collins, who was the inactive player on the roster. You had Marquise Daniels, who was essentially a bench warmer. And you had Melvin Eli, who was the backup center. The shot goes up and in. In their place, Kansas City able to pick up Phil Pressey, Henry Walker, and Hassan Whiteside. 3 very talented players. Lamb missing the shot off the back of the rim. Hassan Whiteside really burst onto the scene with the Miami Heat last season, though he's been in the league since the early 20-teens. But he had a long journey before he returned back to the NBA. So here he is in the CBL with Kansas City. He's now the starting center. Samuel Dalembert will come off the bench as opposed to Dalembert starting and Eli off the bench. Henry Walker for Marquise Daniels. We'll have a Bernard Slaughter, head coach of Kansas City, saying he'll have a bigger role. And then there's Phil Pressey, who's the 13th player for now. Jeremy Lamb closing the gap to 1. Mexico City, on the other hand, had to make their own acquisition. Really the only one that they had to make, as that shot's no good. And here's Mexico City with the rebound. They had to replace Kwame Brown, who didn't return over the past week. And instead of going for another center, as that one will roll out, Mexico City deciding to double down on the local flavor. The only native Mexican on the roster, Gustavo Ayon, is now joined by Jorge Gutierrez, who will come off the bench. Jose Calderon at the line. It was a wonder if he was the one that was going to leave in place of Gutierrez, and if Mexico City was going to shore up that rebounding, which was the reason they picked up Kwame Brown in the first place, but instead they decide to stay small, and they're going to work that out how they can. Calderon can't make the first shot. Otherwise, everybody is about the same here. And the second free throw is good and ties the game at 9 with 8:15 left in the opening quarter. Here's Whiteside trying to take on Ayon. Hook shot, bounces around and out. So struggling around the cup is Whiteside. So he's been getting a number of touches here early on. Let's pass down to Ayon, and he's able to score. Monk's having trouble at the basket. 3 of 9 so far. Johnson will settle for the outside shot, and that'll put Kansas City back ahead. Ball almost lost. Calderon recovers it, gets it to Lamb. Three-pointer is no good. Ellis driving inside, gets past Lamb, and the foul. So Monte Ellis has had a field day attacking the basket so far. Jeremy Lamb trying to take the charge, but was not in the position to do so. 7:04 left in the first quarter. And Monte finished things off at the line. Rubio waiting for the screen. Passes it in the corner. That's Lamb for the long 2 off the side of the backboard. Here comes Evans trying to work his way inside. Hands it off. That's Johnson able to score. So Kansas City getting out on a run here after struggling from the field early on. Up by 6. Here's Rubio, gets it over. Scola laying it up and in. 4-point game. Here's Ellis pushing it up the floor here. Kick out. Evans, corner. 3-pointer, no good. Halfway through the first quarter here, Mexico City down by 4. Gold-clad Guerreros. Trying out some new threads here. -4 so far with them on. Lamb for 3. And that one will rattle in and out. Kansas City up the floor. Hands it off. Here's Garnett driving the lane. The big ticket can't get it. It's Calderon. Up top, Rubio gets it back over. Lamb has been putting them up and knocks that one down. So Mexico City within 2. Bernard Slaughter calling timeout. His team is ahead 17-15 with 5:25 left in the first. D'Alembert in a new position coming off the bench at center. Inbounds it to Johnson, loses the ball, picked up by Davies. Lamb's out ahead, and he's going to finish with 2 hands. Look at it here from the reverse angle. So Lamb was able to get up there. He ties the game at 17. So not the best start coming out of the timeout for Bernard Slaughter's crew. Setting up some offense here. Evans finds Ellis wide open, shoots it over Rubio, who was able to get out there and contest just in time, because that looked like that was all Monte. Here's Lamb, hands it off Calderon. Up top, Rubio. 5 on the shot clock. The Davies screen doesn't do anything. There was a Jones screen right there, but Rubio had to get it up, and he misses. Here comes Kansas City off the long rebound. Evans hands it off D'Alembert to get it back. He lost control of that dribble for a little bit. Evans trying to go inside, kicks it out. D'Alembert works it around. Ellis, corner 3 is good. Double digits already here for Monte Ellis. He's really trying to get it going here today against the Guerreros. Here's Lamb. And he struggled from the field so far today. He hasn't been afraid to put him up. But that ball just has not found the hoop as much as he would probably like. 3 of 8 so far. Evans having an easier go of it on his end of the floor. 3:34 remaining in the first. Pick from Davies. In the corner, Calderon. Keeps looking for the right chance to shoot the 3. Just needs the right space. Him and Rubio were going back and forth there, but Evans was able to play good defense, and it ends with a missed field goal attempt. So good defense there for Kansas City. Not so good on the other end for the Guerreros, but D'Alembert is there to clean up. That's blocked. Rubio there for the block. And a foul on the play. Lamb called for the second personal. So here's Tyreke Evans at the line. He's had his good days, and he's had his rough days. There have been times where he scored 20 points and dished out 12 assists. That was in week 3. In week 4, he had 21 points and 7 assists. But then you get games like week 1, where he only scored 2 points when he had to take on Kobe Bryant. And then last week, 4 points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. Now, it's great that you're out there getting boards and dishing out assists. But 4 points out of Tyreke Evans last week. I'm sure he has surpassed that total, at least. Here's the debut of Jorge Gutierrez from the state of Chihuahua in Mexico. Grew up in America. Played collegiate ball at Cal. Here's Davies down low. Ooh, the reverse layup is up and good. Nice move there by Brandon Davies out of BYU. 23-19, 2.5 left in the first. Evans behind the back. Here's Alec Burks, the Kansas City native. Can't get it. Here's Gutierrez. He's trying to work his way in. He'll kick it out to Francisco Garcia. He'll pull up. That's a long two, but it will not go. Rebound by Burke. Out-rebounding Darius Miller. So Burks is back after sitting out several games. He was healthy scratches each time, but Alec Burks, whenever he was out on the court, he didn't really contribute much. So now he's getting another chance here. As we start off the second half of the season, Darius Miller, nothing but orange pastures as he was able to lay that one in easily. 2-point game. 1.5 left here in the first quarter. Here's Evans. Up top, Burke. Three-pointer is good. So here's Gutierrez again. Spent time with the Bucks and the Nets last season. Gutierrez trying to find an open man. He'll find Perry Jones. Time's running out here, and here's Jones straight away. He can shoot a three or two, and he shows it right there as he knocks it down with the shot clock buzzer running out. Under a minute now left here in the opening quarter. Kansas City wants to close out on a strong note. Here's Burke from the free throw line. That won't go. Rebound by Jones. Here's Gutierrez. Miller in the corner. Long shot, no good. Here's Evans. He's going inside. And a nifty layup. Gives Kansas City the 4-point lead. Shot clock is off. Mexico City last chance to get something here heading into the next frame. Gutierrez rushes up the floor. Here's Miller. Gets it back, Jones. Seconds running out. Looks like he'll hang on for the final shot. Can't get that second one. Lightning not striking a second time there. So after one, it's been a well-played game here from the Sprint Center. Orange ahead of gold, 28-24. An enjoyable game here on a Friday, as the home team is ahead here for Kansas City. 28-24. Fresh 12 on the clock. And here comes Marcus Smart up the floor. Smart straightaway three. Rebound by Kansas City. Here they come the other way. Going to try to pick up where they left off. Trey Burke going to get the party started as Kansas City hits 30. We've seen some great scoring nights out of Trey Burke a couple of times this season. See if we're in store for another one. He has 5 so far. Kansas City gets the steal. Here's Alec Burks going up, and he'll have to earn his points at the line. Alec Burks, he's from right here in the Kansas City area. Played collegiate ball a couple states over at Colorado. Utah Jazz are looking for big things out of him, and pretty much a number of his colleagues there on the Jazz. It's a young roster. Really, if you're looking for the star, you'd say it was probably Gordon Hayward, who's really just the way he's blossomed as a player out of Butler has been amazing. Alec Burks, not too far behind, lost a lot of last season to injury, but you know he's going to come out guns a-blazing. He's able to hit both free throws. 8-point game. A little over 11 minutes left here in the first half. Smart, too stagnant with the ball. You hang on to the ball too long, you're going to lose it. Got to be more decisive, especially with a team like Kansas City. Long shot, no good. There's Henry Walker's first attempt. The artist formerly known as Bill played collegiately with Michael Beasley at Kansas State, a couple hours west of here. Kansas City comes back with the ball again. Evans with the ball, trying to force his way inside against Smart. Passes out, gets it to Burke, who's blocked. Then Evans goes up. He's blocked too. Couple of blocks on the stat sheet there for the Guerreros. We'll see if they can turn it into some offense. Jones to Gutierrez. He's down low. Davies, post up. Hook shot, no good. Rebound by Whiteside. Worth a shot, but the Monks come up with the board, and they are ahead. +8 on the boards. Here's Evans pulling up, knocking it down. 10-point lead for Kansas City. They're trying to pull away with this. We saw Las Vegas get control of the game early on yesterday. And then Omaha tried to make a comeback of it. And they were almost there, but in the end, of course, Las Vegas coming out with that victory in Omaha yesterday. Three-pointer is good. So Marcus Smart trying to keep things from getting too far out of hand. Everything he's put up has been from the outside. Burke for three. No good. Rebound Garcia. Here's Garcia. Hands it off. That's Smart. That's a 2, and he's missed. So that's his first one inside the Beltway. Here's Kansas City the other way, trying to push it. Henry Walker, the former New York Knick. Ball triangles its way back to Evans. Post touchdown low. Whiteside going to work against Davies. Can he convert? Nope, but he gets his own board. Puts it back up. Misses again. Goes up again. Misses that too. Whiteside, for a man that pretty much is shooting 1 foot or less than that at the basket, is cold. And you don't want the guy who's shooting the bunnies to be cold, but Whiteside has done great on the boards at least. And his team is ahead by 7. You got a second and a third chance there. I'm still floored by that. Not that he could do it. Whiteside's pretty great with that, but just that he wasn't able to get the third chance or the second chance. The threes have been flying here. 15 already out of Mexico City. But the clip that they've been making them at is actually league average. But just not good for the number of shots they've been putting up. But Mexico City still within 4. Mexico City and Kansas City getting the Friday game. Mexico City playing again in less than a week. They'll be hosting Lehigh Valley. So that will be the final week of interconference play here for the CBL season. And whoa, look out as that inbound pass by Bill Walker just shoots past the intended receiver. I don't know who it would have been. And it just hit the scansion. So Mexico City will inbound the ball from that same spot. And that transaction goes a lot smoother for Mexico City. Here's Gutierrez. Works over Smart. He's been firing from the outside all day. I think outside of one shot, all of them have been from 3. Here's Garcia, who himself has a good 3-point shot, but he's trying to work his way inside. Gets past Walker almost. The ball doesn't. Here comes Kansas City on the break. Burke is going to take it on his own, and Alec Burks is there for the shot and the foul. So Alec Burks, needless to say, has his season high. His season high before today was 0. In the 2 appearances, 27 combined minutes between week 1 and week 2, Alec Burks had 0 points, 1 rebound, and 2 assists. So him even scoring has outdone himself on the season. And I'm sure Bernard Slaughter is very happy with that, bringing him back into the lineup in light of recent developments. Ball lost, stolen by Walker. 7-point game, Kansas City is ahead. Burks hands it off to Burke, and he's able to lay it up and in past Gutierrez. Mexico City down by 9, slowly losing control here. Garcia gets Walker to bite, and Walker will foul Garcia. That'll be Henry Walker's first. Here's Ayon looking to inbound, and he'll find Rubio. Here's Smart, long 2 is in. Here's Burke. Burke for 3. No good. Rebound by Ayon. And a personal foul away from the ball. That'll be on Burks as he tried to go through Luis Scola to no avail. Ayon looking to inbound. And he'll hand it right to Scola. Big man out on the perimeter gets it to Rubio. 6 minutes left here and change left in the second quarter. Garcia not able to connect. Now it's 6 minutes. Burks for 3. And he'll sink that one. Great assist there, and Alec Burks has 8. He's looking to break out here in week 6. And now it'd definitely be a good time for a guy like Alec Burks and any other players on Kansas City's bench to show that they could definitely contribute to the team as Kansas City will look to make a title run. Here's Rubio, the block by Garnett, and that's a shot clock violation. Ten-point game, Kansas City. Slowly cruising their way to a sizable lead. Here's Joe Johnson for 3 as he'll just tack on some more. Joe Johnson walks into the game on fire. 5 and change left in the first half. Rubio out to Lamb as he'll knock down that 3. 45-35. Jeremy Lamb 40% from the field. He shot it at a high volume. It's just a matter of those shots actually going down. Burke straightaway 3 past Rubio and misses. And Rubio is the only man ahead. He's stopped by Burke. Outside Smart, who was open there for 3. Ayon's able to clean up the mess. Garnett tried to get his hand in there too little, too late. Goaltending on him. And 2 points for the Guerreros. 4:20 left in the first half. Ellis coming into the game as Bernard Slaughter is slowly trickling in his starting lineup. Burke for 3. A little over 4 now. Lamb pull up on him and misses. Rebound by Joe Johnson. Out ahead. Here's Ellis. And blocked by Rubio. Another block for Ricky Rubio. Lamb open. Always dangerous to leave him open. Eventually, those are going to go down more for him. If not in this game, eventually in the season. 3.5 left in the second quarter. Lamb puts up another one. That won't go. Here comes Johnson pushing up the floor. Pulls up and rattles in and out. Here's Rubio. And we're just running up and down the floor. It's a track meet here late in the second quarter. Rubio kicks it over. Smart for three. That won't go. Here's Garnett. Looking like a tennis match out here, just going back and forth with the ball. Past the 3-minute mark. Things slow down a tad. Ellis kicks it over. Walker, long two. Then Mexico City comes up with the board. Ellis almost cruised in for that rebound. Here's Ayon. He's a little tired. Gets it to Lamb underneath. And finally, a stoppage in play as Henry Walker fouls Jeremy Lamb. Man, we were going back and forth, up and down. It was amazing to watch, but all good things come to an end as the UConn grad will head to the line for a couple. Mexico City was making big changes to their roster before it was cool after that overtime loss in week 1, where you think that's just something to build on with the guys you have. Mexico City dispenses of 4 players and replaces them with Perry Jones, Kwame Brown, Jeremy Lamb among them. So Lamb has really been a spark off the bench. The fourth man, Shannon Brown. I always get the fourth guy. I always forget them, no matter what order I put it in. But Jeremy Lamb has really been a spark off the bench. Now Jeremy Lamb gets the starting assignment, at least for today. And Rubio will be called for the blocking foul there. Michael Beasley set to inbound. Cross court pass to Burks. Johnson straight away 3, no good. Garnett there for the offensive board. He'll put it back up and in. Here's Lamb again. Ball works its way back into the hands of the point guard. Tries to get it to Scola. Bad entry pass there. Here's Kansas City the other way. Johnson can't finish the floater. Gets it back. He'll put it back up. Can't get that. Gets the third chance. And he'll go up and in. So Joe Johnson hasn't shot well, but he makes up for it by getting 2 offensive rebounds. Ball down low, Ayon posting up against Garnett. Lays it up and in over Garnett. So Ayon has 6 points today. 49-41, a little over a minute remaining here. A couple of cold streaks from both sides, but still a high-tempo game. Here's Calderon pulling up. Baseline, no good. Rebound, Scola. Back out, Calderon. Works it back down low. Scola going to work. That won't go. Gets his own rebound and will lay that one up and in. 49 seconds here before the half. Ellis stopped by Rubio. He'll get another screen. Goes inside and draws the foul. So Lamb called for his 3rd foul here just as we're about to close out the second quarter. Monte Ellis coming off a 23-point game. He scored double digits in each game this season. This is no different as he knocks down the first free throw. .1 here in the second quarter. As he's able to knock down the second. 8-point lead. Kansas City has been leading fairly comfortably. It hasn't been insurmountable for Mexico City, but the Guerreros have been pretty cold. Even though they've really tried to keep the tempo. Calderon for three. That one will go in. So the Guerreros have had the advantage here in the quarter, but they still find themselves down by 5 with less than 20 seconds left in the half. Johnson can't extend the lead. Rubio with the ball up the floor. Final shot here. Darius Miller will miss the long ranger. Calderon will put it back up, and that'll go in with 5 seconds left. Mexico City within 3. Here's the last shot for Kansas City. Can they get some momentum heading into the half? Yes, sir! 3-pointer at the buzzer by Monte Ellis. And that'll make it a 6-point game heading into halftime. Welcome back to Kansas City. Week 2 action here from the Sprint Center, with the home team leading 54-48. Kansas City with a share of first place in the Eastern Conference. Only thing over them is that tiebreaker, losing that early season game to Lehigh Valley. So Lehigh Valley is technically in first place. Will be the first seed if the playoffs started today. Kansas City looking to change that, as Ellis will go in for the two-handed jam. And a win for Kansas City today would put them at 5-1. And could give them first place if Lehigh Valley loses this week. 56-48 as Monte Ellis closed out the second quarter with a 3-pointer at the buzzer and begins the third quarter with a fast break jam. Rubio gets the ball down low, lays it in, and Mexico City on the board here in the half. Lehigh Valley hosts Seattle on Sunday. Lehigh Valley making a number of changes to their roster, including adding guys like Zach Levine and JaVale McGee. We'll see how those guys turn out here as we head down the second half, the final stretch of this 10-game season. Here's Johnson up the floor. Gets it to Whiteside. Got Ayon the pump fake, didn't take advantage. So here's Johnson with the miss and the rebound by Scola. Rubio alone on the baseline, can't convert, gets his own board and draws the foul. So Whiteside comes back in the game and picks up the foul, his first. Rubio was looked at as the unquestioned starter at point guard. It was his position to lose. He hasn't lost it this season. He's been great. He's done exactly what Lawrence Booth has wanted him to do, and that is facilitate. And he's facilitated the heck out of this team this season. And, of course, as you see by the record, in the overall body of work, maybe a mixed bag, but for the most part, Lawrence Booth thinking that Rubio's right on track with this team. Just a matter of closing out games the right way and playing all 48 minutes. Here's Whiteside down low. He struggled at the rim, and he's able to get one going. 58-52. Kansas City has been ahead for much of this game. Here's Rubio. As I was saying, he's been a great facilitator all season. 7.2 assists per game coming into this week. Rubio goes in. Floater at the shot clock buzzer is good. Speaking of 7 assists a game, he already has 7 assists. Never been much of a scorer. He has 6 points right now. He's only scored double digits once. That was in week 1. Ball tipped around and into the hands of Rubio. So he's all over the place. Looks like they'll actually give that rebound to Ayon. 3-pointer is good by Lamb. So here's comes Mexico City. And Kansas City will call timeout, as the Guerreros are on quite the run here. Within 1 with 9:09 left in the third. Here comes Kansas City up the floor. Here's Evans going baseline. And a foul. It'll be on Smart. Already has his 4th foul. He's been in foul trouble today. Whiteside gets the inbound, finds Ellis. And they're just going to let Monte do his thing. He'll find Johnson on the baseline. Rubio bringing it up the floor. Both teams wearing alternate jerseys today. Smart in the corner. Can't get it. Johnson with the rebound. Only difference is Kansas City intends for this jersey, their orange with maroon trim, to be their alternate jersey. Meanwhile, Mexico City is looking to make these golds permanent on the road. Here's Smart. Hands it off to Lamb. Scola pulls up and misses off the back rim. Ellis called for a 2nd foul. Yeah, but Mexico City trying to move away from a black uniform that they were wearing on the road for the first half of this season, moved to these gold and white uniforms. They will keep the orange and green that they wear at home. Again, their owner wanting to make their jersey combinations akin to what you find in soccer around the world, where the home team and the home and road jerseys for a lot of soccer clubs are not identical in color. Scola misses the first free throw, but he can tie things up here. And we got a tie game, 8:18 left in the third. So Mexico City has not backed down, even though the Monks held a comfortable lead for much of the first half. Ellis going in to rain on the parade. Can't do it. Rebound by Lamb. And now Mexico City can take the lead. For all their shooting struggles, they could get back into this game. Here's Smart working inside. Goes up and scores. The Guerreros take the lead on the heels of a 12-2 run. Here's Johnson over to Evans. Johnson missing the 3. Rubio with the rebound. Out rebounding KG, of all people. Smart up to the point. We'll find Rubio. Trying to fight his way inside. Not a lot of time left on the shot clock. Goes up, loses it, and Whiteside swipes it out of the air. Here's Kansas City. Could take the lead back. A little over 7 minutes left in the third. In the corner, Evans long 2. Can't knock it down. So Kansas City now has gone cold. Here's Rubio. Gets it over to Lamb. And loses it. Here's Johnson with Rubio ahead. Gonna try to force the issue anyways, and he got it. Finishes off the break with a foul. Rubio's second. 60 all with 6:31 left in the third quarter. Joe Johnson at the line. And Joe Johnson has just been a steady performer, 20.4 points per game. He also has nearly 3 rebounds and 3 assists, but Joe Johnson is here to score. Says Bernard Slaughter, he's here to score, to be a major offensive weapon, and that he has been for Kansas City and their 4-1 record. Here's Rubio missing the shot, so Kansas City has the opportunity to take the lead back. Evans, hook shot, no good. Dallenberg down low, puts it back up. Kansas City gets the lead back. Plus 10 in the paint are the Monks. The Perry Jones miss bounces its way out of bounds off of the leg of Michael Beasley. So Mexico City will retain possession. Here's Davies. Waiting for the play to develop. Tried to get it to Jones, and Jones draws the foul. That's Beasley's first. One of the interesting things, I guess, with the departure of Kwame Brown and the reason that Mexico City felt that they had the ability to settle for, or not settle per se, but go ahead and get Jorge Gutierrez, was the fact that Perry Jones was one of the guys they also picked up, who's 6'11", and is capable of playing in the front court. So it wasn't something to freak out about, even though Kwame Brown was able to contribute in the time that he was with the team. Here's Ellis working his way inside. Gets it to Beasley. Ellis going to try again. Time running out here. Loses it. Dallenberg had to put it up just before the buzzer, and he's able to get it and score. So now it's plus 12 in the paint. And that's been a category where Kansas City has been able to get control. Here's Lamb in the corner. And that's a long two. So 64-62. 4:40 remaining and counting. Beasley down low. Dallenberg goes up. He'll miss off the contact. Mexico City trying to get out ahead. Here's Lamb for three. And that's good. Mexico City gets the lead back, up by 1. Ball swiped away, stolen by Rubio. And he got it. He'll lay it in with ease. 3-point lead for the Guerreros. Here's Ellis. Back to Evans. Evans goes up, misses, rebound by Davies. Here's Smart up the floor, pushes it to Rubio. Smart for 3. And that's no good, and we'll get over the back foul here. That'll be on Davies, his first. Here's Beasley. Underneath, they're able to lay it up and in. So Kansas City not too far behind, even though the Guerreros have gained control here in the third quarter. You just look at that shooting discrepancy here in the third quarter, 50% to 33. And it was Mexico City that started off cold. Yeah, MXC, they started off this game cold, was able to close out the half shooting 41%, which gave them the advantage over Kansas City. And then Kansas City's luck running out here in the second half in terms, at least in the third quarter, in terms of shooting. There's a turnover by Ayon. So Kansas City will get the ball back, and they'll see if they'll have the opportunity to get the lead back and improve their shooting percentage. Part of the reason that Kansas City was able to hang on for so long, though, despite the rough shooting, are the offensive boards. A lot of second and third chance opportunities for the Monks. Have been able to keep them in this. Saved by Evans, lands into the hands of a Guerrero. Monte Ellis has been out of it here in the second half. Only getting those 2 points to start off the quarter. Here's Beasley on the fast break. It was slow moving, and Lamb ends up with his 4th foul. Kansas City takes the lead back, and Beasley can put the cherry on top of this possession. So Kansas State, the college that Michael Beasley comes from, so semi-local in nature. Michael Beasley able to get his teammate to join him. Henry Walker also was with him in Miami to end last season. 69-67 is Beasley able to knock down that free throw. Here's Gutierrez with the ball. Down low to Scola. Face up and misses. Rebound by D'Alembert. So Mexico City had control for the middle part of the quarter. And now Kansas City's trying to get ahead here. Won't do it there. Here's Mexico City's opportunity to tie it back up. Rubio, once again, looking to facilitate. He's got assist number 10. Francisco Garcia knocks down a shot to tie the game at 69. Here's Beasley. He'll take a long 2 of his own and miss. Rebound by Ayon. Rubio tried to drive inside. Loses the ball in the process. Under a minute remaining in the third. Ellis tried to bounce pass it to D'Alembert. Deflects off of Gutierrez. So Kansas City will keep the ball for the moment. Here's Whiteside. Gets it to Ellis, who almost loses it. Swiped away again. In the corner, Garnett. Gets it to Ellis. Not a lot of time on the shot clock. Ellis shoots over Rubio and can't get it. Here's Gutierrez. Open lane in there for the layup. Ellis around the Garnett screen. Kicks it out. Joe Johnson in the corner. Can't get it. The shooting struggles continue. Time running out here on the quarter. Rubio will pull up for 3 at the buzzer and can convert. And we have quite the battle here in KC. It's been a good one. And Mexico City able to get the slight advantage, 71-69, heading into the final quarter of regulation. Welcome back to Kansas City. Final quarter of regulation here from the Sprint Center. Mexico City and Kansas City trying to start off the second half of this season right. It's been a great game here so far. The Guerreros getting back into it after trailing for much of the first half. If you enjoy this game, be sure to check us out tomorrow. Alaska and London over at the O2. Rubio tried to make a play on the ball, ended up out of bounds, and the Monks are keeping it. I had to stop myself there. I thought Luis Scola was going to the ball to inbound it. I was confused for a moment, but yes, Kansas City keeping the ball. And was supposed to be inbounded to Trey Burke. And that will be Guerreros' ball. So Mexico City still getting the turnover. Just happened to be one that was unforced. Scola set to inbound. And here's Rubio. He'll bring it up the floor. 10 assists on the day. Looking to maybe notch a few more. Here's Rubio inside. He passes out, gets it out to Ayon, who's able to get the layup off the goaltend. Kansas City's been up by as much as 13. That is all but gone. Mexico City ahead by 4. Walker back in the game. Burke and Rubio going at it. Whiteside driving against Ayon, able to force his way to the low block and finish with a shot just outside. Here's Smart. Ball to Rubio. That one rolls in and out. Rebound by Walker. Ellis. Rebound by Whiteside, and he gets pummeled over by an incoming Scola. And Scola's called for his first foul. 10:45 left here in the final quarter of play. And we'll see if this one is shaping up to come down to the wire. That'll definitely be a treat. Whiteside with the inbound pass. Monte tried to go to work, but reach-in foul called on Ayon. Ellis nearly losing the ball, able to recover. Here's Burke putting up the long shot. No good. Lamb in the corner. Won't go. Rebound by Burke. Pass ahead to Monte. Ellis passes out to Walker. Long two. Got it. Kansas City ties it back up after a bit of a drought there. Here's Scola. Tries to go up. He'll get it back. And he'll go to the line for 2. That's a foul on Walker. Very personal. First free throw good. Mexico City gets the lead back. And able to get the second free throw. So Scola was working to get 2 points under the basket. He steps out a little further, still able to convert on 2 free throws. 9.5 left in regulation. Ball in the corner, Johnson. That'll roll out. Rebound Whiteside. And they'll work his way back out to the perimeter. Out pops Ellis. He'll pull up. And can't get it. Rebound Ayon. Lamb pulls up. he'll knock it down, 77-73. 9 minutes left in the fourth. Here's Ellis. Turnaround jumper, no good. Evans there for the board. He'll go back up and in. And Mexico City will call timeout. They hold serve right now, but only by +2. Ball inbounded here to Smart. 8.5 left in the fourth. Ball works around to Lamb. Underneath Ayon. Hook shot is no good. Rebound by Ellis. Johnson, the floater. Can't get it. Mexico City tried to push the tempo. Couldn't quite do it as Kansas City was able to regroup. Here's Lamb. He'll miss the long shot. Whiteside comes up with the board. 8 minutes left in the fourth. Cross-court pass. Eventually finds its way back outside. Ellis straight away. 3 is good. And Kansas City takes the lead back. Lamb works his way down to Scola. Scola post-up work against Garnett. Unsuccessful. Whiteside. Back to Ellis. That one hit Lamb's side. Ellis pulls up. Shot and the foul. Monte Ellis single-handedly bringing Kansas City past Mexico City. He was cold in the third quarter, only 2 points. And that was at the start of the quarter. And now he's trying to get back into the flow of things here. Rubio up top. Works around Scola. 2-pointer on the line, misses. Evans charging down the floor and had no breaks. Or he might need to go in for a recall due to those bad breaks as he ran right out of bounds. I think he assumed that the ref was going to give him the bumping call, the blocking foul on his opponent, but ref does not do that. And Evans charges out of bounds. Mexico City with the opportunity to get back into this game, down by 4. Scola underneath, able to finish. And timeout called by Bernard Slaughter and Kansas City. Slaughter does not want this to swing in the Guerreros' favor with 6:06 left in the fourth. Ball inbounded to Ellis, crossing the timeline. 6 minutes left here in the fourth. Yeah, this looks like it's going to be a good finish here. Ellis loses the ball, stolen by Lamb. Here comes Mexico City. Johnson, the man back, gets it to Smart, who misses the floater. Rubio puts it back up, and the game is tied at 81. Evans versus Smart. Here's Ellis. He'll turn right around, put up the long two, and miss. And a loose ball foul called on Whiteside. That is his second foul. .5:20 left in the fourth. Game tied at 81. Mexico City looking for the advantage and can't get it on that possession. Here comes Kansas City looking for the same thing. The ball fake gets it over to Evans. Back to Johnson. Straight away three. No good. Rebound Whiteside. Goes up and in. That inside shot has not been a guarantee for Hassan Whiteside, but he's gotten better with it in the second half, and he'll get Kansas City the lead back. Lamb, turnaround jumper over Johnson, and too late. Shot clock violation. Jeremy Lamb with 21 points on 8 of 20 shooting. Johnson for a long two. I was going to say three. It would not have been a three-pointer. Joe Johnson has struggled from the line today. 5 of 23. Rubio goes up, and Johnson there. I'm not sure if he blocked it, but he did contest at least. Under 4 minutes now. Ellis almost had some space to put up the three. Ellis trying to go in. Stolen by Rubio. Here comes Mexico City. Going to try to tie it. Back out Scola. Long two. Not necessarily his range. And Kansas City comes up with it. Here's Evans. Trying to work inside. Back outside to Ellis. The pick from Garnett. Looking to drive. Gets it to Johnson now. Time running out. Evans gets by. Lays it up and in. .310 left in the fourth. 4-point game. This one has been back and forth. Some pretty cold shooting nights, but both teams grinding it out nonetheless. Scola with the rebound off the miss. He'll go back up, and he's fouled by Kevin Garnett. Coming into this game, Scola 60.9% from the line. And he'll miss the first one. The only overtime game of the season was in week 1, and Mexico City was a part of it, falling to Seattle in Seattle. Second shot's up and good, though. 85-82. Under 3 minutes left in regulation. Shaping up to be a good one here down the stretch on the Coliseum Sports Network, and we're glad you could join us. Here's Whiteside fighting his way inside. Can't convert. Rebound Scola. A 3 to tie it. A 2 to close the gap. Rubio pulls up baseline, won't go. Rebound Ellis. Ricky Rubio has a triple-double today. 10 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists. And Whiteside draws the foul. So if a victory does not come out of this for Mexico City, at least they'll have that performance from Ricky Rubio, but I'm sure that he does not want that to go for naught. So Mexico City going to try to fight here to the finish. Whiteside's at the line with 2:14 left in the fourth. That first shot is no good. One of Whiteside's weaknesses, even during his meteoric run, his free throw shooting. Then again, it's a problem that plagues a lot of big men in the league, be it the CBL or the NBA. Here's Rubio on the block. He'll pull up, can't get it, and into the hands of Whiteside. 2 minutes now left in the fourth quarter. So 10 points, 11 rebounds, 13 assists, despite shooting terribly from the field. But in that aspect of rough shooting from field goal range, he's not alone, as you see from that miss there. These teams have gotten up a lot of shots, but not a lot of them have fallen. Lamb missing that one as well. Here comes Evans. That one goes up and in. And timeout, Mexico City. As suddenly the Guerreros are down by 5 with 1:28 left in regulation. Here's Ayon with the inbound. They'll get it to Smart. Pick from Ayon. Ends up in more trouble, though. Here's Rubio. Stolen by Ellis. And another shot couldn't quite put it away for the Monks. Oh, but a turnover. Here comes Mexico City. Final minute of play here. Mexico City, not a lot of chances left. Lamb, I think that was an air ball, and he missed that one. Kansas City might come away with this here. As the seconds tick, looking more and more like a possibility, but they are throwing this ball away. Final seconds here. Mexico City is going to need a big shot. Ball down low, Scola. Back out, Rubio. Pump faking some more. Trying to drive. He'll go in. Hands it off. Scola instead of taking it himself. And yet, Mexico City still bailed out with a reach-in foul. Monte Ellis called for his third. And a timeout called by the Guerreros. 21.8 seconds left in the fourth. Last chance for MCG. Five-point game here. Pretty much do or die on this possession. Coming out of the Guerreros timeout. Gonna have to put up a shot. And it's to Rubio. He'll get it Lamb from near the baseline, or near the sideline. An intentional foul there by Scola off the miss. So as long as Ellis can hit at least one of these free throws, it is ball game. First one goes. Second one, not so much, but that should still be more than enough. Here comes Smart the other way. and they're just going to hold on to this. So it's a 6-point win here for Kansas City, as that one will not go at the buzzer. Kansas City will move on to 5-1 as Mexico City falls further behind in the Western Conference race to 2-4, as they will go in the sole position of third place in the Western Conference. It was a rough one from the field in terms of shooting, but we hope you enjoyed it all the same here on the Coliseum Sports Network. I'm Raymond Sims. Have a good one, everybody.